This day in sports history. Hey, real quick, you've heard me talk a lot about the Sterling Soap Company over the past few months, and if you haven't tried out their soaps, I get it. It's not easy changing up your routine. But let me just say, if you give them a try, I'm nearly 100% certain you will have zero regrets. They carry not only bar soap, but shave soap, liquid body soap, body lotions, beard balm, lip balm, and a lot more. Plus, there are myriad scents to choose from. Their products are made with natural ingredients and scented oils, and they are committed to being environmentally conscious. And I always get a handwritten note on my packing slip, so I know it's been checked before shipping, and it's a nice little human touch in a world that seems to be going away from that. Give Sterling Soap a try today at sterlingsoap.com. It's March 3rd, and on this day in 1990, Houston Rocket Hakeem Olajuwon came up one digit short of a super rare quadruple double. In a 129-121 win over Golden State, Olajuwon was initially credited with 29 points, 18 boards, 11 blocked shots, and 9 assists. After the game, though, the stat crew reviewed the video of the game, and they found an assist in the first quarter that he had not been credited with. So, they revised the stat sheet, giving him 10 assists, and the third quadruple-double in NBA history. Chicago's Nate Thurmond and San Antonio's Alvin Robertson being the other two. But enter the NBA league office. Rod Thorne reviewed the tape himself, and he made the decision to remove the additional assist from the stat sheet, saying that a box score should not be adjusted after the fact for the purpose of achieving a statistical milestone. It didn't affect Hakeem too much, though. 26 days later, he put together an 18-point, 16-rebound, 11-block, 10-assist performance against Milwaukee to officially become the third player in NBA history to record a quadruple-double. David Robinson joined that elite group in 1994, and many think that current San Antonio Spur Victor Wembanyama will be the next to do it. Hopefully, Wemby gets better soon and recovers from the blood clot in his shoulder that shut his season down and can go for it next season. On this day in 1875, the Montreal Rules were used to play the first organized game of hockey. So, while the Americans were working out the rules of baseball in the post-Civil War states, Canada was formulating how to play a game on the ice that was so abundant on the many ponds and lakes there. A group of students from McGill University came up with a set of rules to play the game, and on this night, 18 students showed up at the Victoria skating rink in Montreal. They formed 2 teams of 9, and they skated into history. The event was actually publicized in the Montreal Gazette that morning with the jaunty line, "Good fun may be expected, as some of the players are reputed to be exceedingly expert at the game." There was also a post-game report the day after, which is how we know that this happened. James Creighton was one of those McGill students that played that night, and he is the one who is credited with establishing the first set of formal rules and then getting those rules published in the newspaper. The 2 teams of 9 took to the ice, and they put on the first indoor game with a great number of spectators in the stands. Now, the reason they played 9 to a side is due to the size of the indoor rink. When games were organized outside, there could be any number of players depending on the size of the pond, and they could go up to dozens per side. Well, here they played 2 30-minute halves. They used sticks, but no forward passing was allowed, and for the first time, they used a wooden puck instead of a lacrosse ball that had been typical. The puck used here was square and carved from wood instead of the rubber circular puck that we know today, and it was put into play here as a safety measure so it would slide along the ice without rising. At each end, spaced about 8 feet apart, were 2 flags set up to signify the goal. The game they played did take some inspiration from lacrosse, but also from the game called shinty. Shinty looks similar to field hockey with wooden sticks and a ball and 2 goals on the ends, but it has some distinct rules differences. Shinty is a game that originated in Scotland and is still played in the Highlands. Now, during this game, a funny thing happened that will probably not be surprising, but a fight broke out. But this fight was between members of the team and members of the Victoria's Skating Club, who thought the game they were playing was stupid and they wanted their ice back. An editorial in another paper a few days later was already preaching against the inherent violence in this new game. Here's a quote from that article. "Shins and heads were battered, benches smashed, and the lady spectators fled in confusion." The game progressed from there. Official rules were printed, more games were played, the 9 men per side, which included a goalie, lasted until 1884, when it started to be pared down, first to 7 and eventually to 6. But the game we know today as hockey got its start on this day 150 years ago. Let's keep the hockey theme going because also on this day in 1920, maybe in an homage to what happened 45 years prior, the Montreal Canadiens scored 16 goals in a win against the Quebec Bulldogs. The 16 goals still stands as the most ever scored by one team in an NHL game. And finishing off today's episode with this non-sports fun fact. In our muddled English language, sofa and couch have come to mean the same thing. However, there is a difference. Sofa comes from an Arabic word for bench with cushions, meant for sitting, while couch comes from the French word meaning to lie down. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.